Reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, Madhyakanda chapter 8. Mahaprabhu displays his opulence. All glories to the beloved Lord Gaurasundar, who is most dear to everyone, especially Lord Nityananda and Advaita Acharya Prabhu. He is the life and soul of Sri Jagadananda and Sri Garbha, and the most precious treasure of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, for he is the Lord and Master of Jagadish and Gopinath. All glories to all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. Along with Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya continued to perform wonderful pastimes in Navadvip. Advaita Acharya, as well as all the other Vaishnavas, assisted their pastimes. Together they performed grand kirtan, dancing ecstatically, whilst constantly chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna. While Nityananda Prabhu remained in Srivas Pandit's house, he manifested the mood of a young boy. He would not even eat by himself, and had to be fed by Mother Madali, who felt like a mother to him. One day, Lord Chaitanya began to discuss topics regarding Krishna consciousness with Srivas Pandit. Wanting to test Srivas, he asked, "Why do you keep and maintain this avadut in your house? You do not know anything about him. Who he is, from where does he come? What is his family background? I warn you that you are being too lenient and kind to him. If you want to maintain the good reputation of your family in society, then you should immediately turn this avadut out of your house." Srivas Pandit smiled and said, "O Lord, it is not proper for you to test me in this way. I know that Lord Nityananda is your expansion. You are the Supreme Lord, and there is no difference between yourself and Lord Nityananda. I am your servant, and anyone who serves you becomes my master. Even if Lord Nityananda were a meat-eating drunkard, and due to association with him I lost my reputation, wealth, and everything, still, I tell you truly that I would never think of anything other than serving his and your lotus feet." Hearing Srivas Pandit speaking in this manner, the Lord stood up and roared loudly with great joy. "What have I just heard from you, Srivas Pandit? You have so much faith and love for Nityananda Prabhu. You have understood the truth about my dear most confidential associate. This has pleased me so much that I grant you this boon. Even if there comes a time when Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, is forced to wander about with a begging bowl, still your house will never know the chills of Punari. Everyone in your house, including your pet dogs and cats, will find complete shelter in my devotional service. Therefore I leave Lord Nityananda Prabhu in your care, so that you may look after him and serve him properly." Saying this, the Lord returned home. Lord Nityananda spent his time roaming about Navadvip. Sometimes he went to the Ganga to take a swim and happily allowed the currents to carry him away. At other times, he played with the young boys, acting like a little child himself. He would visit the houses of Gangadas Pandit and Murari Gupta, and then run to Lord Chaitanya's house, where Mother Sachi showered him with affection. Absorbed in the mood of a young boy, Lord Nityananda would try to catch Mother Sachi's feet, and she always tried to escape from him. One night, Mother Sachi had a dream, which she later related to Lord Vishwambar in confidence. Late in the night I dreamt I saw you and Nityananda. You were 2 5-year-old boys, running about playing and fighting. I saw both of you enter the deity room and then come out with the deity of Lord Balaram in your hand and the deity of Krishna in Nityananda's hand. The 4 of you then began to fight with each other. Balaram and Krishna were angry and said to you, "Hey, you cheaters, you impostors, get out of here. This house and this room belongs to us, and everything else here, like the sweets, curds and milk, are all ours." Nityananda replied, "Those days of stealing butter and curd for yourself to eat are now gone. You are no longer coward boys. Now you have become young brahmanas, so give up now your possessiveness about all these sweets, yogurt and milk. If you do not listen to our sweet persuasion, then we will convince you with a beating. Who is going to tolerate your plundering and mischief?" Balaram and Krishna replied, "We will catch hold of both of you impostors and leave you here tied up. Who will blame us for this if you go against the wishes of Krishna?" Lord Nityananda Prabhu then replied, "Who is afraid of your Krishna? My Lord and Master is Lord Vishvambar." The 4 of them fought in this way, snatching and eating the sweets and food from each other's hands and mouth. Nityananda called out to me, saying, "Mother, bring my food. I'm very hungry." Thereafter I woke up, but I cannot understand anything of this dream. Therefore I am telling you. Hearing the description of Mother Sachi's dream, Vishvambar smiled and spoke to her tenderly. "That was a nice dream you had, Mother, but do not tell this to everyone. Our deities are actually living and are very potent. Your dream has increased and strengthened my devotion and faith in them." It is interesting that you dreamt like this, as I have been observing something strange, which I didn't reveal before, because I was feeling ashamed. I noticed that the foodstuff which your daughter-in-law cooked and offered to their lordships, Balaram and Krishna, would remain half-eaten after the offering was over. I was suspicious of my wife, but now everything has become clear. Vishnupriya, Sri Lakshmi Devi, the mother of the universe, heard the details of Mother Sachi's dream from the inner quarters and smiled at her husband's words. Vishvambar said, "Mother, let me go and bring Nityananda here right away, and you can feed him." Happy to hear this, Sachi Mata quickly began preparation for cooking. Vishvambar went to Nityananda and extended an invitation to him along with a warning. "Today we are making a special offering to the deities, so please do not misbehave." Nityananda caught hold of his ears and cried, "Vishnu, Vishnu, who makes people misbehave? You think I will misbehave because you think everyone is like yourself." Joking in this way, they proceeded towards Vishvambar's house, absorbed in talks of Krishna. Entering the house, they were given water to wash their feet and then sat down to eat next to each other, surrounded by Kadadhar Pandit and other friends. Sitting together in this way, Nityananda and Vishvambar looked exactly like Ramachandra and Lakshman, sitting in their mother's house. Their mood and affection for each other were identical, for they were the same persons. Mother Sachi was very happy and excitedly hurried to serve out full plates of prasadam for the 2 of them. When she returned, she found the 2 boys of 5 in place where Vishwambar and Nityananda had been sitting. One of the boys had a blackish complexion and the other was very fair. Both of them were exquisitely beautiful and both were without any clothing. One of them had 4 arms, which held the conch, shell, disc, mace and lotus. His breast was marked with Srivatsa, the glistering Kaustuba jewel hung from his neck, and beautiful fish-shaped earrings dangled from his ears. The other boy held a plough and a pestle. She also saw her daughter-in-law Vishnupriya situated on the breast of one of the young children. No sooner had she seen this wonderful sight than it vanished. Mother Sachi stood still, stunned in ecstasy, as tears rolled down her face, drenching her clothes. All the foodstuff scattered here and there as Sachimata fell to the ground and lay unconscious. Vishwambar rushed up to wash his hands and mouth, then quickly ran to revive his mother. Lifting her up, he said, "Mother, mother, please get up. Be calm and take control of yourself. Why did you suddenly fall to the ground?" Mother Sachi slowly regained consciousness and quickly tied her loosened hair. Without uttering a word, she went inside her room and began weeping. She was overwhelmed with ecstatic love for Krishna, and nothing else mattered to her. Her breath came in great sighs, and her body trembled from head to toe. Meanwhile, the servant Ishan cleaned the eating room. He collected the remnants of food that had scattered over the floor and ate them all. Truly, Ishan is extremely fortunate, for every day he performed such wonderful activities. So we stop here for today, reading from the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Jai Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Madhya Kanda chapter 8. The opulences. The Mahaprabhu displayed his opulence Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sriman Sarvabhavana Das Ki Jai. Jai Gurudev. And we're reading today the first part of Sri Guru and His Grace, by His Divine Grace, Swami Bhakti Rakak Siddhadev Goswami Maharaj. We start with the preface by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. In 10 short years, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada inundated the world with Krishna consciousness. In the following excerpt from one of his essays, he smashes the sectarian misconception that the spiritual master is limited to a particular person, form, or institution, and establishes the universal conception of Guru. Sakshat Darit Vena Samasta Shastri Uktas Tata Bhavyata Eva Sadik Kintur Prabhuya Priya Eva Tasha Vande Sri Gurudeva Charanada Vindam. In the revealed scriptures, it is declared that the spiritual master should be worshipped like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this injunction is obeyed by pure devotees of the Lord. The spiritual master is the most confidential servant of the Lord. Thus let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of our spiritual master. Gentlemen, on behalf of the members of the Bombay branch of the Gaudiya Math, let me welcome you all, because you have so kindly joined us tonight in our congregational offerings of homage to the lotus feet of the world teacher Acharya Dev, who is the founder of this Gaudiya mission and is the president Acharya of Sri Sri Vishva Vaishnava Raja Sabha. I mean, my eternal divine master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Parivrajacharya Sri Srimat Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. 62 years ago, on this auspicious day, the Acharya Dev made his appearance by the call of Thakur Bhaktivinoda at Sri Kshetra Jagannath Dham at Puri. Gentlemen, the offering of such a homage as has been arranged this evening to the Acharya Dev is not a sectarian concern. For when we speak of the fundamental principle of Gurudev or Acharya Dev, we speak of something that is of universal application. There does not arise any question of discrimination, my Guru, from yours or anyone else's. There is only one Guru, who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me, and all others. In order to learn the transcendental science, one must approach the bona fide spiritual master in disciplic succession, who is fixed in the absolute truth. Thus it has been enjoined herewith that in order to receive that transcendental knowledge, one must approach the Guru. Therefore, if the absolute truth is one, about which we think there is no difference of opinion, the Guru cannot be two. The Acharya Dev, to whom we have assembled tonight to offer our humble homage, is not the Guru of a sectarian institution, or one out of many differing exponents of the truth. On the contrary, he is the Jagat Guru or the Guru of all of us. The only difference is that some obey him wholeheartedly, while others do not obey him directly. In the Bhagavatam 11:17-27, it is said, Acharyam mam vigyanyam namvam yeta kahirchit namatya buddhya seyita sarvadeva mayo guru. One should understand the spiritual master to be as good as I am, said the Blessed Lord. Nobody should be jealous of the spiritual master or think of him as an ordinary man, because the spiritual master is the sum total of all demigods. That is, the Acharya has been identified with God himself. He has nothing to do with the affairs of this mundane world. He appears before us to reveal the light of the Vedas and to bestow upon us the blessings of full-fledged freedom, after which we should hanker at every step of our life's journey. The transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was first uttered by God to Brahma, the creator of this particular universe. From Brahma, the knowledge descended to Narad, from Narad to Vyasadeva, from Vyasadeva to Madhva, and in this process of disciplic succession, the transcendental knowledge was transmitted by one disciple to another till it reached Lord Gauranga, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who posed as the disciple and successor of Sri Ishvara Puri. The present Acharya Dev is the 10th disciplic representative from the Sri Rupa Goswami, the original representative of Lord Chaitanya, who preached this transcendental tradition in its fullness. The knowledge that we receive from our Gurudev is none different from that imparted by God himself, and the succession of the Acharyas in the preceptorial line of Brahma. We adore this auspicious day of Sri Vyasapuja Tithi because the Acharya is the living representative of Vyasadeva, the divine compiler of the Vedas, Puranas, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and Srimad Bhagavatam. We cannot know anything of the transcendental region by our limited, perverted method of observation and experiment. but all of us can lend our eager ears for the oral reception of the transcendental sound transmitted from the region to this through the unadulterated medium of Sri Gurudev or Sri Vyasadev. Therefore, gentlemen, we should surrender ourselves today at the feet of the representative of Sri Vyasadev for the elimination of all our differences bred by our unsubmissive attitude. It is accordingly said in Bhagavad Gita 4:34, Tat vidi panipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnaninas tattva dashina. Just approach the wise and bona fide spiritual master. Surrender unto him first and try to understand him by inquiries and service. Such a wise spiritual master will enlighten you with transcendental knowledge, for he has already known the absolute truth. To receive transcendental knowledge, we must completely surrender ourselves to the real Acharya in a spirit of ardent inquiry and service. Actual performance of service to the Absolute under the guidance of the Acharya is the only vehicle by which we can assimilate transcendental knowledge. Today's meeting for offering our humble services and homage to the feet of the Acharya Dev will enable us to be favored with the capacity of assimilating the transcendental knowledge so kindly transmitted by him to all persons without distinction. We stop here from reading Sri Guru and His Grace, the preface by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness Ki Jai. Jai, His Divine Grace Swami Bhakti Rakakshidadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. I need something to put here. Do you have something? I'll do it later, yeah. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopala Govindaram Srimati Sudha. Gopala Govindaram Srimati Sudhana. Giridhari Govindam Namaha. Giridhari Govindam Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Krishna Sanatam Bhakta Raghunatha. Jaya Krishna Sanatam Bhakta Raghunatha. Sri Prabhupada Bhattacharya Sarvaguna. Sri Prabhupada Bhattacharya Sarvaguna. Jai Gosai Hari Charana Vandana. Jai Gosai Hari Charana Vandana. Jai Devi Nana Sadhisakura. Jai Devi Nana Sadhisakura. Jai Gosai Muri Taraka. Jai Gosai Muri Taraka. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Jaya Sabai Gai Sisi Guru Puranga Sunagada Piva Jaya Juki Om Vishnu Bhatsila Bhakti Nirmala Jaya Maharaj Ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Sri Acharya Vrinda Ki Om Vishnu Bhatsila Bhakti Sunda Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Om Vishnu Bhatsila Bhakti Vakak Sri Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Bhagavan Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Sabshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Sabshada Sri Manna Prabhu Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shanakunda Radha Kunda Puri Govardhan Ki Tulasi Maharani Ki Kama Yamuna Chu Ki Krantarachima Bhagavatam Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Sri Navadvitam Ki Sri Mayapudam Ki Sri Vrindavanam Ki Sri Purushottamadam Ki Sri Jagannath Puridam Ki Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat East London Chapter Ki Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat West London Chapter Ki Samantha Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Samantha Vaishnava Mangala Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Sri Devi Ki Saraswati Devi